Zapdos is immune to power creep because of move pool, typing, and decently rounded stats. Staraptor, Keldeo, Thundurus, and Tornadus are all some of the many you claim are immune to power creep that are garbage right now, so it looks like this video didn't age well. These two sentences mean a lot to me. Why is that though? Why is it that I haven't been able to stop thinking about this damn YouTube comment? To be fair, I don't know. Instead of addressing my own feelings on the matter, I let it turn into a copy pasta within my Discord server, where it's now been seen as a joke by everyone inside it. To be fair though, the joke has lost a lot of its luster. I think that's why now is the perfect time to analyze it. Before we do that though, we must first discuss power creep. Power creep is an idea belonging to almost every competitive game in existence, first being populated by card games until video games took over. Of those games, Pokemon was one of them. I'd always been a fan of Pokemon's competitive scene when I started playing Showdown at the age of 12, with my terrible theme teams like my Gen 7 NU Pikachu clone team. Because of this, I'd watch a lot of YouTube videos related to the subject, although none of them talked about power creep, and that surprised me. It's because of this that I'd commit to talking about Pokemon once I made a video discussing the subject. Now, I'd already dipped my toes into the niche with a terrible, god-awful, misinformation-written FSG parody, but this was the first time I decided to be unique within the niche. Of course, I'd already talked about many subjects beforehand in the essay style you know me well for, and while those videos I had made before, which are still publicly available that is, are what I'd credit for getting me to this point, it was the power creep video that was when the YouTube algorithm truly took me in. The video blew up, and is still watched to this day. Many still discover me from it. On one hand, I'm flattered, but on the other, it's also a little embarrassing. I'm gonna be brutally honest here. This video is really bad. Sure, it's not as terrible as the Riolu video, but it is still not my finest work. There's nothing wrong with the editing or voiceover, really. In fact, it's sad how little I've improved at those aspects. What made the video so lackluster for me is how poorly researched it was. I spread misinformation like Tyranitar having a good typing and Poison Heal being nerfed, neither of which were true. Outside of that, there were other blind spots in the script, like how I counted UUBL Pokemon as being immune to power creep, which is incredibly dumb. If you told any reasonably good player that Staraptor is immune to power creep, they'll laugh, as its lifelong UUBL status quite literally means that it's been power crept every generation. Not only that, but I also failed to consider talking about Quagsire and Gastrodon. Now, they aren't immune to power creep, at least by the rules I invented in the video, stating that a power creep immune Pokemon is one who has never left the OU tier, but I should have at least included my argument against them in the video. So, do you see it now? Do you see why this video pisses me off? The issues I addressed here are all things people talked about in the comments section. In fact, they're the only comments I get nowadays. Now, I don't mind criticism. In fact, I actively want it, as I want nothing more than to make the best videos in this community. What bothers me about the reception to this video is how everyone is saying the exact same things. It's likely because of this that they always stood out in my mind. Despite this, they don't exactly haunt me. I can deal with it after all. Despite this, there is one comment I got which found me irate. Surprisingly, it's still not the title of this video, but rather one which simply says, Zapdos, totally a victim of power creep. It's been OU for 7 of the 8 generations. Yeah, sure, a real victim, lol. This comment is so stupid. Is Zapdos a victim of power creep? No. We can all agree on that. Defog saved it after all. Is it immune to power creep though? Also no. It fell to UU in Gen 5 and that is a matter of fact. Also, BDSP is like my parents' marriage. It doesn't exist. The video wasn't talking about victims of power creep. It's instead talking about Pokemon who have never been affected by power creep. With that out of the way then, I think now is the time to say that this is one of the first times I can remember getting a comment that genuinely pissed me off. It's like they missed the point of the whole... video! It's infuriating. Despite this, I kept it to myself. That was until I received the second comment I got regarding Zapdos, which many of you on the Discord server know as that one unfunny copy pasta that'll never die. Now, actually reading the comment nowadays, I don't really get why I was so angry when I read it. If this was the first comment I got about Zapdos, then I probably wouldn't have had the big reaction I had to it. It wasn't though, so I complained about it on my Discord server. It's because of this that it would then be spammed as a copy pasta, until some of my friends got the original commenter to join the Discord server against my own wishes. After that though, it died down, with the last message you can see on that dead text channel being that reaction my viewers wanted from him. Come to think of it though, who is this person? It's not something that was originally on my mind, but now that I had to deal with writing this script, I started to think about it. I shouldn't bother him though, and the same should go for you. Chances are that the original commenter has forgotten all about this. The fact that I remember just shows how truly petty I am. Speaking of pettiness, power creep me, daddy! That's something I say sometimes for comedic effect. Despite this, there's a far longer story to this than you would have initially expected. One insecurity I always had as a YouTuber is that I'd be chained down to having just one niche. I didn't want that to happen, so I didn't quite commit to making Pokemon videos. I experimented with a lot of topics, like anime, video games, wrestling, and even politics for some reason. While I was working on those other projects though, I'd still dabble into Pokemon discussion. I'm extremely passionate about it after all. I actually made a now forgotten video dedicated to how, no matter what may seem like my most passion-fueled interest at the time, that Pokemon is still what I will prioritize above anything else. I don't really even know if I could call myself a fan of Pokemon anymore, yet it's all I think about, and I have such an absurd level of knowledge on it that I kinda need to use this channel just to get it all out of my system. That went a bit off topic though, as what truly mattered is that I keep discussing power creep. In retrospect, I didn't milk the subject that hard, since the videos were so spread out apart. It felt like milking though because they were easily my most popular videos. It's because of this that I feared nothing more than being known as the power creep guy. Around that time, I said power creep me daddy as a joke, and that turned into a meme for a bit, culminating in this unlisted video from YouTuber Ryan the Mudkip called AIDS Gets Power Crept. I love this video. It's hilarious. Despite this, it's also the visual representation of how it felt to be considered the power creep guy, with the Groudon taking out all other parts of me. That Groudon, to me, represented how the general public only saw me for those few videos. That's why when the last power creep video underperformed, I saw it as an opportunity to change. I wouldn't just be a Pokemon channel. I refused to have a channel dedicated to only one subject, so I aimed to make my channel about both anime and Pokemon. When I made a series of unsuccessful anime videos though, I realized that my channel would die if I let my stubbornness take over. So I pivoted back to Pokemon, and it stayed that way ever since. One of those videos had me discussing the National Dex meta, when I first said the phrase power creep me daddy out loud. I think that was me putting the final nail in the coffin. It was when I Mega Evolved and Swords Dance swept my way past the Groudon which had held me back. While the unfortunate reality that I can only discuss one subject on YouTube was, and still frankly is, hard to take in, I think that was the moment where I first made peace with the idea. Making the Ubers video I had done previously, I still had cold feet. That was probably the least I've ever enjoyed working on a project. But I actually liked working on the National Dex video, and I'm so happy about it. The reason I didn't like those old Pokemon videos is that they were too easy to make. I simply knew too much for it to be fun. So starting then, I started to put more effort into becoming a good player, researching things I'm unfamiliar with, and going as deep into a given subject as I possibly can. It's because of this that I've been having a lot of fun with the videos I've been making as of late. They're not easy to make, and have only been getting harder to make, but if that's what it'll take for me to be the best in my community, then I don't mind any sacrifices I had to make. I'm not making some big joke when I say that I want to make YouTube work out for me. I don't think I could be happier doing anything but making a profit off of doing what I love. I think that's why I look back at all those YouTube-related anxieties I once had, and look back at them as if they're a distant memory. Sure, I still have a lot going on, and a lot of uncertainties with life, but what I am certain about is that the future of this channel, for the first time in forever, seems significantly more prosperous. Nowadays, whenever I think about the words power creep me daddy, or Zapdos, I no longer see my fate being decided for me. While they're still what I'm most known for, they're not all I'm known for. Now I see people being introduced by the OU by Technicality video, the Gen 5 OU video, and even my hot takes. For the first time since making that video, I feel like I can finally make videos that'll actually touch people. Not only is this because of the YouTube algorithm picking me up, but it's also because of the effort I've been putting in. An effort which I once lacked. I'm just so thankful. Thank you all for sticking by my side, even through how much I've struggled to pick things up. It means a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It's far from what I'm used to making, but there was no doubt in my mind that I'd eventually release it. Truthfully, I wanted to release it later since this more personal video would likely kill a lot of the momentum I built through the hazard duology, but I'd figured I'd release it now as I'd need something shorter to work on while I'm still addicted to Persona 5 Royal. If I didn't make it obvious enough, I don't want you to interact with anyone I just mentioned. Just don't be a dick. But that's everything I needed to get off my chest, so I guess I'll stop wasting your time. You guys are great.